everybody, welcome back to my channel, Bake with Love. My name is Heather and today is February 27th, 2022, and today happens to be my puppy's 5th birthday, so I'm actually going to make a puppy cake. So I'm going to turn the camera down so you can see what I'm doing. So, I'm going to say one thing to note, I can't even speak. So there's a few things for the ingredients I just want to get over with. Actually, maybe I'll just bring the camera back up so I can explain this. So one thing is baby food. So I bought a little pouch of this organic baby food. This is the Hearty Veggie and Turkey organic baby food. I have not bought baby food in a long time. Went down the baby food aisle. Everything is now in pouches. There's no more glass jars. Everything says organic. There was no meat, no dairy. Everything says it's or a lot of things say organic, no fat, no sugar, no salt. And I'm like, you know, there's something wrong with some of that. I'm not going to get into this video on the problems with some of that stuff, but when you don't give your babies, you know, proper building blocks to form proper functions, brain functions, stuff like that, you're going to have, you know, some other issues are going to come up with your little ones as they age. But I'm not going to get into that. That's something totally different, but I just wanted to bring that up to anybody's attention who's not like me, who hasn't bought baby food in so long. You know, I told my mom that, and she had a few questions about pablum, and I said one day when I have more time, I'm actually going to go down the baby food aisle and look for a few key factors. Like, I do know what good amount of certain products is good for serving size. And so I said, I'm going to start looking into the baby food and labels and see what I can see. With that being said, that's my little introduction. I said my youngest is 14, so it's been a very long time since I bought baby food. So everything being in pouches and no jars was the first thing I noticed. The second one was this dog food. I've made dog food lots. I've never actually done it using canned baby food. I usually have my own meat, but at the moment I don't have any meat. I mean, I've got meat in my deep freeze, but nothing that's defrosted and ready to go, like nothing cooked yet. So I thought I would do it fast and buy some baby food. So, so that's the other thing. The other thing is there's a few ingredients that you should not feed your pets. Now, with that being said, my dog, she's a big dog. She's a Husky Shepherd cross. She's over there playing with her new toys. So some of the things that there are certain like spices that dogs should not have. All the spices that I cook with on a regular basis are in here. Onions, dogs should not have onions. Well, I cook with a lot of onions. She eats our table scraps, whether we give them to her or not. She helps herself to anything sitting on somebody's dish. You leave your plate of potatoes and onions on the counter or on your table, she's going to jump up and she will eat them. So I know for her size, she can handle the onions and garlic, because I was trying to find, you know, baby food that didn't have it, but this was the only one I found that was actually had meat in it, and it actually does have onion, and it does have sweet potato, onion. Does it have garlic? No, this one does not have garlic, but it does have the onion, but I'm not worried about it because in the little baby food, there's not going to be a lot of onion. The other thing is there's basil, parsley, rosemary. Again, those are common things I use fresh and dried in our food. So my dog's 5 years, she's had that, you know, on a regular basis, so those don't bother her. But if your dog's never had spices, I would probably say, you know, read the labels of the pet foods or the baby foods before giving them to your pets, just because I know onions and garlic can upset, so do some certain spices can upset your dog, especially if they're smaller dogs. But I'm not really worried about my dog, and it's just a one-time treat for her, and this is only 128 mils. I don't think there's gonna be that much onion in here. I mean, you're not gonna give like a 6-month-old baby a lot of onion anyway. So the cake I'm making, I'm using baby food and applesauce. So I do have my applesauce, and this is unsweetened. So when you're making the dog food, you don't want the added sugar, so you make sure it's unsweetened. I usually do prefer to buy unsweetened applesauce. The apples are usually sweet enough without the extra sugar. The ones that do have the extra sugar are usually when they mix the apples with other fruits. I do have them in my pantry, but they did look at the sugar content from some of those ones versus this one per serving. has 8 grams of sugar. Now, it's probably a lot for a puppy, but like I said, she's a bigger dog. So, you can omit this if you think that it's got too much sugar for your pet. I said, I'm just going through a list by list of all the ingredients. The other thing is peanut butter. My puppy loves peanut butter. In fact, this jar is actually labeled hers. She got a hold of the jar, so it's now hers. So, got that. Another one is the oats. I do use the oats. These are Quaker. They're not the instant ones. They're the ones that do take probably like 5-6 minutes to cook on the stove, like the actual rolled oats. The steel cut ones. I would not recommend using instant oatmeal in pet food. I saw a few recipes where somebody was using like a little pack of instant oatmeal, and I don't know if it was regular or if it has, again, like if it's the breakfast serving size little ones, you just add a little bit of water, put them in the microwave, in 45 seconds you got a bowl of oatmeal. Well, half of those have spices and fruit added. So again, I would not want to use the instant oatmeal in my dog's or my cat's treats that I make. Also for flour, I use the whole wheat flour. If I don't have whole wheat flour, I actually take my oats and I will put them through my food processor or just my little hand, what is it called? My little mortar and pesto bowl that I have. And I actually grind, or my little spice grinder or something, and I'll actually grind the oats into whole wheat flour. Again, I don't know if the regular flour is, it's probably okay for occasional little treat, but I do want to try to make my dog more treats. I was doing that a couple of years ago. I was making her all organic food for quite a while there. But so I don't like the white flour is bleached. So I'm careful on some of the additives and the bleaching process to give it to your pets. Eggs are good, so I've got eggs, so a whole egg is good. For some people say don't give them that part of the egg, don't give them that part of the egg. I don't know. Again, I said you have to look at the size of your dog. You could probably, or a cat if you're making cat treats, because if I was going to make this for my cats, I would probably use, instead of using the applesauce, I'd probably put in half a can of tuna. Now my cats actually just eat tuna, so they canned tuna. So again, it's read the labels, know what you feed your pets on a regular basis, or what food you have in your home that your pets just naturally or just commonly around. I think that's all the ingredients. Oh, this does take a little bit of baking soda. I'm just gonna double check it was baking soda. Yes, baking soda. I just want to double check that it wasn't baking powder. So it just takes such a small amount of the baking powder or baking soda in these cake recipes. So that shouldn't be too much of a problem, because that's, you want your cake to rise anyways. So, and then, let's see, was there anything else? Oh, I was making an icing for on top of this. I don't have I don't have my honey. So I got to check my honey labels. For the icing, it's going to be cornstarch, water, and honey. I've got different kinds of honey. I buy all the flavored honeys. So for when I make it for my dogs, I will not be using my flavored honeys. I'll just be using just the regular 100% organic natural wildflower honey. I do have honey that's got licorice in it, green tea, different berries, other things. And again, I mean, she's had those honeys, but I'm not going to actually give it to her, like especially the licorice. I would not give your pets licorice. I know my favorite honey is the Nixon, yeah, the Nixon honey, they're little jars, and I like the black licorice flavor, or just licorice, whatever. And so I know that licorice is not good for dogs. So, you gotta know what your pets can handle when making their food. So I think that was it. So now we're just gonna turn the camera down now. Oh, I guess I'll say I've got my pan ready. And I've got my oven already preheated to 350, and I think it already beeped a minute ago. So I guess I'm going to turn the camera down and we can start to actually make the cake. Okay, sorry, there was one more thing. This recipe doesn't ask for it, that's why I forgot about it, but because I had it sitting on the other side of the counter just so I wouldn't forget. Oils. Anytime that the recipe asks for any type of oil or butter, I always use the coconut oil. You don't want to give your pet any processed other oils, like I know the canola oil. I know corn is harmful for dogs. Although they put corn in dog food, so go figure that one. I don't quite understand. You can't give your dogs corn, you can't give them corn oil, but they put corn as a filler in some of the pet foods. I don't understand the reasoning, but I think it might be what type of corn they use. I do know there's a difference between like regular corn and sweet corn. So stay away from some of the cheaper corns. Always buy sweet corn because it's not MGOs. Okay, with that being said about the oil, because this recipe here does not take it. The other recipe I was going to make does take it. Oh, I know. What I was going to make was the other one. So of course it has two other ingredients that I don't have. One is yogurt. Always go with plain Greek yogurt for pets. Don't go with anything else. I don't know, I guess you can go with some other plain yogurt, but I find the Greek yogurt for pets is probably safer. Also the pumpkin. You want pumpkin puree, so it has to be 100% pumpkin puree, not the pumpkin pie filling. I only have pie filling. I was at the store the other day, yesterday, and I was going to make this cake, and I was going to go buy the can of the pie fill or the puree, and I thought, I think I've got a can left that I never used in the fall. And of course I get home, and of course I only have the pumpkin pie filling. I don't have the puree. So always have to know what ingredients you are using to keep your pet safe. Okay, now with that being said, I think I've gone over all the list of ingredients of what's pet safe and what isn't. So now we're going to start making the dog cake. Okay, I'm just going to move this over. I'm going to start with a 1/4 cup of peanut butter. Now because I'm making this cake, I'm not measuring the 1/4 cup. I think that's about a 1/4 cup. It's about one nice good scoop of peanut butter. And then we need our applesauce. So we've got our 1 container of unsweetened applesauce. Actually, I think I gotta grab a other spoon to lift this out if it doesn't pour out. Sometimes it doesn't quite pour out. Oh, this one did. So I'm just gonna grab a little whisk. Spatula, just so I can scoop this out of here a little easier. So just 1 container of the applesauce, and I'm using the whole pouch of baby food. Now the recipe actually calls for, I think, a 1/4 cup of applesauce and a 1/4 cup of, or it's just 1 container of this and 1 container of that. There's different recipes. So I think the baby food is going to be a little bit more than what I need, but I think my applesauce amount is a little bit less. So I think that's going to be okay. So 1 jar or pouch of baby food. Like I said, I'm making it for the dog. I'm not going to taste it to see if it tastes good. You know, I don't know. Puppies will eat anything. So it should probably taste good to her. I'm going to give this a good mix now. It's starting to look like that. Let's see. So this one here is this hearty veggie and turkey. This has sweet potato. Well, it says organic sweet potato, organic apple, organic carrot, organic celery, water, organic ground turkey, organic onion, organic basil, organic parsley, organic rosemary, and ascorbic acid. So that is what they put in baby food. He said everything says organic. No. Okay, I don't know what they do with baby food if they're not putting meat. So what type of a protein supplement are they trying to put the babies on? I don't know. Okay, so we got that. Oops. And we need a little bit of this. I think it's just a teaspoon of baking soda. A teaspoon. There's the teaspoon of baking soda. And then we need the eggs. This recipe asks for 1. I'm going to cook, or I'm going to mix in 2, just because I've got 2 eggs left in my fridge, and I just don't want 1 egg loose in the fridge. And when I'm doing eggs, I always crack them into a separate dish so I can give them a good whisk. Also, in case you do get a couple little eggshells in, it's always easier if you pour it into a separate bowl first. I'm one of those people who, when I crack the egg into a separate dish, no eggshells. When I crack it into the bowl, or my made bowl, and I'm using the, I've got the stand mixer going, and I'm cracking the eggs in, that's when I'll get like a bunch of eggshells. So I always try to do the eggs in a separate bowl. So I got 2 eggs, and then we'll add some flour. Let's see, this recipe says 1 cup of flour and half a cup of oats. I don't even know if I have 1 cup of flour. Let's see what I have in here for flour. Now I know doing flour, you're not supposed to pour in like this. I would do it properly, and I usually sift flour, but you know, it's making it for my puppy, so it's a little bit different. You know, I mean, and I didn't quite do a full cup of it. And then I'll just add some oats just to make sure I get a good consistency, like a cake batter. It's already looking like a good cake. Again, usually when I'm making with stuff with flour, I sift it in. This time I'm not. Shredded carrots are always a good thing to add to the dog food when you make it. Dogs love apples and carrots. I just don't have either of those on hand at the moment. It's, you know, I have carrots, but they're frozen, and I think I thought we had apples. I guess they're gone. A couple days ago there was some, today there's none, so I guess they got eaten. Like I said, like with our house how busy our house is, I just find it easier to buy frozen fruit and frozen veggies versus fresh or canned. Canned takes up a lot of room in the pantry, so I just, you know, I like the frozen stuff. It's closer to you know, the fresh. I think it's better than the canned. I mean, you get whatever you can get and have on hand. But I just find as certain kids have left the house, certain ones who don't like certain veggies or certain fruits, it's just easier just to buy them and keep them in the freezer. Okay, so got my pan here already with my parchment paper. Oops, I forgot to add the oats. Now this recipe says a 1/4 cup or half a cup. Well, I'm just gonna pour some in there. Just kind of give it a little bit of thickness, I guess. There. All right, now it's all the ingredients are mixed in, so now I can pour it into my prepared pan. Now I am using a 7-inch. I'll just take this out so you can see. I'm using a 7-inch. It's like a springform pan. I don't know what its name is, but it's got the base that comes out. You don't have to worry about the little spring thing on the side. I am horrible at getting those back in, lining up properly. So I got this. It took me a long time to find a pan this size. I needed a 7-inch springform pan for my Instant Pot. When I found out that you can make a cheesecake in the Instant Pot, I'm like, I need a pan that would fit it. So it took me almost a year of having my Instant Pot before I finally found it. And I found it at HomeSense, so this is the thing. I had to take it off. I have not used it yet. So $6 from HomeSense. I think it was a pretty good price for a brand new pan. I'll pay like up to that price for like a pan, you know, secondhand pan at like Value Village. It has to be a good pan. It can't just be just a cheap generic one, but like a good cake pan that does something. And I put in some of the parchment, and I put it in higher than the top of the pan just because I wasn't sure what size of cake this was going to turn into. This way, if the cake does go up, it's not going to go up and over the edge and get all over my stove. It's just going to stay, hopefully it just stays as high as the wax paper is. So now I'm just going to put this into the oven, and it bakes at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for 15 to 20 minutes. So I will be back in about 15 minutes. Put this down so you can see it. So I'll put this in the oven. So I'll be back in about 15 minutes to show you what it looks like and how close to being finished it is. There's my puppy. There's my birthday puppy. Hey? Oh, if you like that before it's cooked, you're gonna love it when it gets cooked. Let me help you. I'm trying to get that around so you can lick that. There you go. Alright, so the cake, it still has about 5 or 6 minutes left, but I thought I would kind of start working on the icing for the cake. Just gotta turn my paper so I got the right recipe in front of me. So the cake icing for the dog safe icing is cornstarch, water, honey, and food coloring. So I just kind of want to say, okay, cornstarch is safe for dogs. You know, it's fine. It's just a, you know, if you don't do cornstarch, I think arrowroot powder would also be safe for pets too. Something that's more natural. So, and then the honey. So I've got lots of different types of honey that I use. I have another kind I'm out of. I forget the name. It starts with an A. I buy it from Walmart. It comes in a glass jar. I don't remember what it's called, but I really like the taste of it. So I do have this honey here. I buy this one from Superstore too. It's about as, it tastes pretty good too. It's a little cheaper than the one from Walmart, but I like the flavor of the one from Walmart for whatever reason. It might just be the bees. I don't know. I think the one from Walmart might be from, I think it's made in another country. This is Canadian. But this one, because this is the one, this is the honey I'm going to use in my puppy's thing, but it has crystallized, so it's not going to come out. So it's going to take, that's my next thing, is I'm going to have to, you know, soak this in warm water to get it uncrystallized. I've got these other honeys here. These ones are made by Be Right. They are made in a small town just really close to where I live in my province. So these are, this one here is raspberry and this one is wildflower. And what I like about these ones, if you go to the farmer's market, you buy the honey that comes locally. Then it's locally sourced, local bees, local, you know, florals, flowers, local fields. You're helping your community, you're helping the bees, you're helping the community. So I like to buy the Be Right ones I get from the farmer's market. And I had this one here, this is the Nixon honey. These ones I love. I used to, where are these? These are also made in Canada. I'm just trying to see, did you say product of Canada? I'm not sure where. Oh yeah, right here in my province too. Yep. So I thought another small little town. Actually, the two towns are pretty close together. But I was buying these ones all the time at the farmer's market, but it was hard to get to. You know, the farmer's market only open in the summer, a few hours on a Saturday. I couldn't always get there every week. And then I found them at Nutter's, and they're about the same price at the farmer's market versus Nutter's. So now I can just go to Nutter's and get them all the time. My favorite two of the Nixon honey is the peppermint and the black licorice. This peppermint one tastes really good in all the tea. So does this. This one tastes really good in my jasmine and green tea. This one I'll use in every other tea. I've got this other one here. It's just plain honey. This is raw and unfiltered. Now, be careful with honey when it's not pasteurized, like the stuff you buy at the supermarket, like this one. It is pasteurized. This one is not pasteurized. I'm not sure if these other ones, if they are pasteurized. They don't say that they are pasteurized, so I'm not sure, because they are more like a all natural, great tasting. Okay, they don't say if they're pasteurized, so I don't know. That's the other thing, you know, knowing if it's pasteurized or not pasteurized. That's why I'm going to use the pasteurized honey for my dog. This one here, I got this as a gift from somebody, so I know these actually were produced right here in my city from a church. I know that. So it's called Just Plain Honey. And then I have this one. This one is the funniest jar of honey. I don't even know what my husband paid for it for me, but we were at Burnco getting landscaping stuff for our backyard last summer, I believe. I don't believe honey actually has a shelf, like an expiry. I think it's safe, you know, like, I don't know. I don't think honey really goes bad. So I don't even think, I haven't even opened it yet because I don't want, I know once you open it, it goes crystallized, but this was the funniest honey. So it is made by Burnco. they're the rock landscaping place. And so it says this honey is proudly produced on farms and ranch land adjacent to and owned by Burnco related firms and numerous locations throughout Western Canada where gravel is extracted. And it goes on telling you all this stuff about bees, so it's really interesting. So I said, again, I don't know what my husband paid for this, but I know what he paid for this is more than what I pay for, you know, like this size of a jar. I do know that. But we were there buying all this rock and the cedar chips. So my husband bought me Burnco honey. So I haven't even tried it yet. So I'm gonna try it for the first time. So let me just grab a spoon first. Okay, so I went to grab a spoon and then the timer beat for the oven. I checked the cake. It's not ready. Another 2 minutes for the puppy's cake. So here we go. This is the unpasteurized Buzzco natural honey. So there, popped it open. Oops, dripping honey already. It's kind of got to break through this top coating here. It's always fun when you gotta break through this crystallization at the top to get to the honey. There we go. I've got some honey coming out now. Let's see. I'm gonna try this Burnco honey. That is so good. I think this is the first time I've actually tried food on my channel as far as I remember. But no, this Burnco honey is really good. I'm just gonna put the lid on before I tip it everywhere. Yes, okay. I'm not gonna lick my fingers on camera. I think I've done that a couple times. So there we go. So Burnco honey, it's really good. But I'm gonna use this honey now. I said this honey has crystallized. So to uncrystallize honey, I know there's different ways to do it. The way I like to do it is I just take a dish of just take a dish of hot water and I just soak the jar in for just a few minutes. I mean, I've seen people like, you know, microwave it. I don't think you want to microwave honey because then you're kind of cooking the honey. So I think just giving it like a warm bath kind of a thing, you know, just to kind of loosen it up. Now with honey, I'll just do this. I have 4 kids and I know people are mad at me when I say this. Let's see, there's the timer again, but that's okay. I know it's not quite done because that was barely, there's no way that was 2 minutes. Okay, so let me just turn that off for a second. Okay, that was just checking the cake. It's still not done. It's gonna be another 5 minutes. I can tell by the way it's hasn't baked fully. So I have 4 kids. I'm gonna say this, and I know there's gonna be a lot of comments because I've had this discussion with a lot of friends. So I can say I have 4 kids. No one has allergies, and I know what people say about honey and toddlers. They don't give honey to kids under the age of 2. They also said don't give peanuts butter to kids under, I think when my oldest was born, I think they were saying not to give kids peanuts until they were like 3. Now, just back that up just a little bit. When I was in high school, I wanted to be a chemical biologist. I find it fun to read the American Journal of Medicine. I find those articles, those magazines, that type of stuff fun to read. That is what I prefer, that's my preferred reading. So I know enough about, you know, like you can read the baby books and read the basic stuff in baby books, but I took it a step further. I actually said, well, I want to know about, you know, how do allergies form and stuff. And so it's up to the age of 18 months is from the age of like 1 month up to 18 months is when your body is producing all its, I'm trying to think what it's called now. It's been a while since I've read it, but it has to do with like, you know, if you're going to be allergic to something. So it's your immune responses to your environment. And so if you haven't had certain things, exposed to certain things by the time you're 18 months, the longer after that 18 months you're exposed to it, the more you're going to probably have the allergies to. So the 2 things that are most like highly allergic things that I knew growing up or just the baby books was bee stings and peanuts. So I did some research and I was reading, don't know where. I found these in the medical, you know, the journals, the American medical journals, different articles, different magazines of that type, not necessarily in the American medical journals, but other magazines and other stuff that other, you know, scientists and doctors have done their research on allergies in children. So knowing when your babies are starting to build up their immune response to have the trigger, so they don't have the allergic reaction, so their body is immune to things, I thought, well, I said, well, if they're allergic to peanuts, okay, well then you kind of want to get them to have peanuts in their system right away. That way you know if it's going to be a lifetime allergy. I mean, yes, I'd hate to give my kids something and they have an allergic reaction. Well, I'd rather have them have an allergic reaction in a controlled setting, like, hey, we're sitting here in the kitchen, I'm feeding them all these little jars of baby food. That's why you test the jars of baby food, one flavor, one fruit, and one veggie thing kind of at a time to see what they can handle, what they can't handle. I still say at my age, 43, I still can't do cherries and green beans. If they're cooked a little bit, like green beans, I can handle cooked. I can't eat raw green beans. I can't eat the yellow beans. There's still some stuff from like way back, like before I was like, you know, 6 months or whatever, 6 months old, my mom tried me on all that stuff. Cherries is another one, instantly, just, I can't do cherries. Except maraschino cherries, I don't know why, I still haven't figured that one out, but I can eat maraschino cherries. They'll kind of give me a little, you know, I kind of do get a little sick, but not like if I were to have like a whole fresh cherry or if I were to drink cherry juice, I'll be instantly sick. So knowing kind of like, you know, if you do kind of like a controlled setting, like I'm testing the baby food, you know, at that 3-4 month old mark, when you start giving them, introducing them into pablums and some of the more solid, not quite solid, but you know, the beginning solid baby foods. So I thought, well, if I'm trying all these little things, well, let's do the peanuts or the peanut butter. So I put the peanut butter on the teething biscuits. And then I decided, well, so about the 3-4 months mark, I was giving them a little bit of the peanut butter, and then I always have honey. So I started giving them a bit of the honey on the peanut butter on the teething biscuits. So by the time my kids were 6 months, they were already exposed to peanut and honey. And the thing, even with some of the pasteurized honey, you can still get the bee stingers in here. So I just think then my kids have no allergies. Yeah, so yeah, I know there's a lot of people who are mad because I know when I was pregnant, I used to eat a lot of sushi and sashimi. If people are not familiar, sashimi is just the raw cut fish with nothing on it. Maybe a little spice, maybe a little spicy sprinkle of a little bit of dipping sauce, but just a piece of raw fish. So I know people used to get mad at me for eating that, and I say, you know, 2/3 of the world eats this as their diet, is fish and rice. So I don't think I'm harming my child. I'll stay away from certain cuts of fish that I really enjoyed. That when I was pregnant, I kind of stayed away from certain types of fish. I didn't eat as much sashimi. I did more of the California rolls for sushi. So again, it's one of those things that you do. It's like, I always do this. And it's just, if you're also, I think if you're pregnant, the baby's in you, whatever you eat, the baby gets exposed to it and is gonna learn to have its own immune system responses in vitro. I honestly believe that. So now I'm just gonna go and check the cake because now it should be done. All right, the cake is now done. So I'm just going to lift it out of the pan. So she's gonna move this pan so I don't burn myself. I'm gonna leave it with the parchment paper. I could try to pull it away. I'm just gonna leave it like that. Slowly pull it away. It smells like peanut butter oatmeal cookies. I'm just gonna let this cool down for a little bit because it's gonna be really hot. So I'm gonna let this cool down, and then I'm gonna get the honey uncrystallized. I'm gonna soak it in a container of warm water just so it's easier to pour. And I will be back when I'm ready to make the icing. All right, I'm back to make the icing. So the icing is cornstarch, water, and honey. So the first thing is a 1/4 cup of cornstarch. And then to this, you're adding your 1/4 cup of water, I've got water in a bowl, I've got a little more than a quarter cup. But, so I've got a quarter cup, but to get this, you have to add it, I'm just gonna, so this, 1 tablespoon at a time. So I'm just gonna grab a tablespoon and whisk this in. You just want to kind of get the cornstarch and water, because otherwise it goes really lumpy really fast. You just want to just put it in a tablespoon at a time. Get a couple tablespoons in there and just to mix it in. I don't think this is icing. This looks more like oobleck. If you don't have kids who you don't make oobleck, oobleck is a really interesting thing. It's cornstarch and water. And oobleck is both a liquid and a solid at the same time. So see, it's all liquid and runny, but when you go to press your hand into it, it is hard. My kids make it all the time. So I'm gonna add the rest of the water. And continue to whisk this in. There, now I should start to have more water than the cornstarch. Just gotta get this scraped off. There. Now I just have a cornstarch. This would be a good base if you were making like any type of a sauce or gravy. That's a good gravy base. Now we're gonna add honey. Needs a quarter cup of honey. So I had this sitting in hot water in a bowl, so I can get a quarter cup of honey. That's wrong. I read that wrong. It's not a quarter cup of honey. It's 2 teaspoons of honey. How did I do? Oh, I see. I was reading the recipe below because I wrote out a whole bunch of dog treat recipes. It's just 2 tablespoons of honey. Good thing I double checked that. Otherwise, I'm putting in like twice the amount of honey. This is what happens when you've got stuff written down in front of you, but you've got more than one recipe in front of you and you're just looking down at the page and then you're just doing something and then you just look at the page and you're looking at the wrong spot. So this is gonna like this, but now this just looks too runny to be icing. I don't even know if this recipe will even work. You know, find these recipes off Pinterest. See, it's a very runny icing. I think I'm going to add a little bit more cornstarch. Just do it. Oh, this is half a tablespoon. I was going to put in a teaspoon, but I guess my teaspoon I used already. So I'm just going to put another half a tablespoon. So I've added another whole tablespoon. Just trying to get this to thicken up. It's just... Yeah, see, I think that, you know what, I don't care. I'm going to put all this honey in. I've got it already measured out. I need to thicken this. I really think it was quarter cup honey. And I think it was two tablespoons of water. I don't know. Read so many different recipes on Pinterest. You know, when you read the recipes, sometimes they sound wrong, they look wrong, they don't look real. TikTok is even worse. That's why I don't do TikTok. I don't watch TikTok videos. I don't make TikTok. I think the stuff on there is all fake. I'm just gonna keep mixing this in until I get it thickened up again. And I'm gonna have to find that recipe and see what I did wrong. I really think it would have been a quarter cup cornstarch, quarter cup honey, and just 2 tablespoons of water. I think I may have gotten the honey and the water amounts mixed up based on how it looked when I was first making it. So when I write down in the description box and I write down how much ingredients are, I will double check and make sure I write down the exact amounts. So basically what I think I have now is almost half a cup of cornstarch. So let's put some more in. Now it's starting to look like icing. It's okay if it's a little runny. Either the recipe was wrong or I wrote it down wrong, but I will double check. But yeah, it's starting to look a bit better. I'm going to put in another little scoop of the cornstarch. There. And put another little scoop. There. Now it's more like icing for a cake. That's better. That's what I want. So now I get to do the color. So I've got my food colorings here. I've got 2 boxes. One is regular one, and this one is neon. I'm going to say I have no idea how much. Oops, these out of my way. See, I have no idea how much of these are in here. I'm one of those people, I just keep the food coloring all in the one box. And they're probably like empty or almost empty. Like this pink one is empty. But I've got purple, I've got this really interesting yellow green and a blue. And then this box, oh, this is the new box. So this box, this is my brand new box. So this one I haven't really used too many colors. So I've got yellow, red, green, and blue. Now, I wanted to make a really pretty color. I'm just trying to find on here. So I'm going to use 5 drops of the purple. And it says 3 drops of the blue. And I'm going to see, the charts never work properly. But sometimes they do, so I'm going to see. I'm going to grab my whisk, and I should get a really nice, oh, I like the way that went. That's a nice purple for my puppy's cake. There, it's all mixed in. So now I'm going to go and grab the cake, and I will come back and I will ice her cake. Alright, so I got the cake ready. So I'm just going to take it off of the parchment paper here. I'm going to put it in this pan. This is a pie pan from a store-bought pie that we had. Set this aside. And I'm going to, I don't need the whisk anymore. I'm just going to put the icing on. Because it's kind of like a glaze for this cake. It's not as thick as I want it to be, but that's okay. I don't think she's gonna mind. It's just there we go. Just come up on the sides. Just ice the sides a little bit more. I will be double checking the recipe on Pinterest for this icing because this doesn't quite seem right. I probably wrote it down wrong. I do that, you know, or I'm there we go. So there is my puppy's birthday cake so far. I'm just going to grab a little cookie cutter and I'll be right back. Alright, now to do a final decoration on this cake, I have this little puppy cookie cutter and I got a little scoop of food here. It's a mix of cat food and dog food. So I'm going to put the little puppy down in the center. And I'm just going to pour in a mix of cat and dog food. And I know you shouldn't give your cats dog food or your dogs cat food, but I have both cats and dogs and they just eat each other's food. So, I'm just gonna put this down. There, just gonna put it. And I'm going to leave it like this, and I'm not going to move the shape until we're serving it, because it's really cool when you do this. I love to do this with my day-home kids. I'll put something in the center here, and I'll just fill it all the way up, the whole cookie cutter full of sprinkles. And then right before you go to serve it, you take it off, and then this whole cascading effect of sprinkles. It's really cool. So this would be a cascading effect of cat and dog food down her cake. So go like that. There. Got a good amount of cat and dog food in the little dog shape. So it looks like that. Maybe I will, just so I can always do it. But see, when you lift it up, and it all falls, you get this nice. Sometimes it looks better, sometimes it doesn't. It just kind of depends. So I guess I'll just fix this and put this food back in the cookie cutter shape. Yeah, so the sprinkles work really good. The sprinkles will just go a really nice flow down. Because the pet food doesn't want to do that. But anyways, I guess I'll just fix that in a minute. Okay, so at the end of my thank yous, I will do a quick little mini video of her enjoying the cake. But again, I just want to say thank you to everybody who's watching my videos and has subscribed to my channel, and I will see you all in my next videos. Bye. Okay.
Uh-oh. It's turned away. What's it made out of? She smells just like...
Your cake? Oh, you're gonna be a baby? You need me to feed it to you? Yeah? You want me to feed it to you? Gonna eat it out of my hand. Come on. You're a good baby.
Oh.
She might not be hungry.
Oh, yeah.
Dogs have no sense of hunger, or well, of being full, I'll say that.
I think it's a winner.
Are you done for now? Oh, that was a big piece.
Oh, no!
Is that your birthday cake? Oh, Eleanor, what about your present? like take off in a minute and see if she wants it.
I think she wants the food now. She wants the food.
What's wrong?
She's being a baby.
Okay.